Hey Caspa family, this video is going to be about how you as an investor can make money during this transition of Caspa into smart contracts. So Caspa smart contracts is going to be a huge opportunity for investors. There's going to be a lot of different ways to make money, a lot of different assets that you can make money from. Now I'm going to go into my opinions of all these different assets and what I think are going to be the best, most profitable ones for smart contracts and for the whole Caspa season, Caspa bull run. Kaspa is the native coin. This is the primary asset that'll be able to fuel these investments. So if you haven't yet, get your Kaspa on Kraken. Is the best place to buy Kaspa. It has the best liquidity. It's the safest exchange and most reliable. You get $75, literally free money. Claim that, buy more Kaspa. I don't know if it's available for people in Europe. Honestly, it doesn't say anything about it. I don't know if it's people for just in the US. See, there's geographic restrictions may apply. You don't know. Just give it a try. If you haven't made a Kraken account, there's no better time to do it. Let's get back to the video. So Kasplex released a teaser, basically hinting toward news that they're going to release and announce in the Malaysia Blockchain Week 2025. Now that is this Monday, I believe. So this Monday, there's actually a chance that Kasplex L2 launches, and that's basically smart contracts for Kaspa. And also on Monday, there's also news that Igra Labs released that Caravelle, the testnet for their L2, is going to launch, like public testnet. It looks like it's going to be launched in 3 phases. It's going to be first launched on testnet testnet 10 for Kaspa. So these are going to be opportunities to get your feet in the water if you haven't already, especially with Igra and with Kasplex. Kasplex is already on a testnet. All right, if you're looking at Kaspa right now, and all right, we may have to have some consolidation. It looks like we are now in a consolidation period once again, just like we were down at this 7-cent range I mentioned in my past videos. Yeah, okay, we're in consolidation. We're going to need some time. When we had that time, then that gave the ability to break out, and that's exactly what happened. So right now we again have to consolidate. Caspa may have to retouch down to 8.5 cents. It had a great bounce from 9 cents yesterday. So, but still, it may have to consolidate. When it consolidates, 8.5 cents, even as low as 8 cents. I mean, it's all possible, but basically don't be selling your bags. Hold, and this is just the massive breakout that we're looking for. Okay, you're like, oh my gosh, Kaspa's barely up. Yeah, well, this is the breakout across crypto. Bitcoin broke its all-time high, reached an all-time high, 120,000. I mean, this is confirmation. Even the, ETH dominance with respect to Bitcoin. Look at Ethereum right now. So yes, we're going to need to consolidate, a massive breakout, but this is the confirmation for altcoin season. This breakout here for ETH dominance, and you look on others and all this, it's like, this is the alt season loading. This is just the very start. So you have to understand, okay, when smart contracts drop on Kaspa, this is going to be a huge opportunity for investors because it's going to align very likely with Kaspa season. Call it what you want, altcoin season, the bull run, whatever it is, Kaspa is going to have its own bull season, and it's going to likely be aligned with the rest of the crypto market. As we already know, Kasplex is not launching a token. They're launching as nonprofit, open source, all that stuff. It's good. It's really good. But they have their own funding model, and that funding model it's more aligned with Kaspa centric. It's aligned with the miners, with Ice River, Kaspa Ecosystem Foundation. So it's it goes along the lines of community fund it. It's big names in the industry. They're happy to fund stuff like that. Okay, even if it's not a traditional investment. But Igra Labs, they're going to have their token. So this is going to be one of the most obvious ways to invest in L2 on Kaspa. So Igra Labs, their token is scheduled to launch toward the end of 2025. So Q4 2025. So Kasplex L2 is likely going to launch before them. Now Igra Labs, they had their pre-sale. Their pre-sale filled up fast. It's still ongoing, I believe. You could still probably enter the pre-sale through 3 Search Capital, I believe. 3 Search Capital. So they basically filled up about 500,000 to $1 million in funding already. I think closer to $1 million, and that's honestly crazy. But you have to look at this whole allocation thing. Association 20%, team and advisors 18% of the supply. It's a lot of the percent. Okay, so basically the way it works, This is just one way to invest, and you invest as an early investor, okay, with the pre-sale, and what that allows you, 50% you can discount, basically, of the launch price for early investors, and this is what's getting filled up. And honestly, so that's one, okay, and I'm not so fond of this as an investment for various reasons. Let me just lay out all the different investments. So we got Igra Labs, their token, and we have, well, Casplex doesn't have a token. So now we have other, what are some projects launching on the L2s? Well, of course, we have the Memecoins. Nacho is the first and largest. This is my, something like I really see very high value, especially while it's very cheap right now, especially with respect to Caspa's market cap. So, Nacho, prime investment. And of course, all the other meme coins that you may like. They all have their own angle, their marketing angle. But Nacho is the most obvious play. First fair launched, largest, and they're building so much. They have so much partnership and so much ties across the entire Caspa ecosystem. They're here to, long term, and it's just the safest move in my opinion, especially how it's run. But all right, so you got Igra Labs, you have Nacho as the meme coin, the mascot of Caspa, and you have now also DEXs, decentralized exchanges. So Zealous Swap already had their pre-sale, but the thing is with their pre-sale, as you can see here, only 20% of the supply is circulating. Let's check holders. Okay, so you have massive amounts still. So honestly, when you look at stats, you look at KRC20 tokens, you look at the market cap, this is not actually the market cap. This is the fully diluted market cap. Okay, the actual market cap is much lower. The actual market cap would represent only 20% of the supply in circulation. That's something that CoinMarketCap can do. It looks at fully like the market cap and the fully diluted market cap. Because once you keep in mind all these tokens not in circulation, like this is like doesn't represent its actual value currently, because these aren't in circulation. Once these enter the market, that's going to introduce so much sell pressure. Like just look at this. 0.08% of the supply represents $22,000. Imagine. And there's 78%. And it's going to constantly, every single month, every single month, I think it's like something around 30, it's not 30, 0.3, 0.32, 0.33% of the supply, gets out onto the open market through airdrops, through staking rewards, through farming rewards, all these different rewards they're giving for people in the ecosystem for, using their platform. It's about 0.3%. I did the math a while back. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 0.3%, that's around $100,000 every single month that can very much potentially be sell pressure. People get this stuff a lot. Yeah, maybe some people, or maybe even half the people are going to hold. Maybe the other half of people are going to sell. So boom, that's $50,000 that's going to be sold. So if you're not having $50,000 being purchased of this token every single month, well, what's going to happen to the price? It's going to constantly be, it's sell price. It's going to be dumping. So do I think that Zeal is going to stay number one in the ecosystem? Absolutely not. It's pretty clear. You look across Ethereum, you look across other ecosystems, look at the DEX, and the DEX trades very much lower than the leading meme coins, especially the top one, like much lower. Even the L2 tokens trade higher than Zeal, than the DEXs. So it's just going to be a lot of liquidity coming from Zeal into, in my opinion, Nacho, which is much more undervalued. So maybe Zeal stays at the same market cap, but then you see Nacho just keep increasing. Maybe Zeal lowers in market cap, and then Nacho keeps increasing. And then along with Nacho, all the other meme coins you see can go below. It's around like 3 times below the market cap. Kaspa similar, a little bit below. All these different ones. Okay, they all rise together. They all fall together. All that. So that's why I think Zeal is just a liquidity shift. And so we have to also keep in mind this in terms of Igra Labs. So much of the supply is not going to be circulating at launch. So it's going to have a very small market cap, but the fully diluted market cap is going to be worth 50 million. So what does that mean? It means at launch, Igra Labs could experience a spike in price because there's just not much supply available. But after every single month, I mean, especially after the 6-month period, we see after 6 months, is it 6 months? Yeah, 6 months, the lockup period, finally early investors in the team can start selling allocations of it. There's going to be a lockup. So every single month after 6 months, it's going to unlock. But I mean, starting at 0 months, the ecosystem association and public sale, these people are going to be able to sell straight off the bat. But with a vesting schedule. So every single month, starting from this first month. So basically what I'm trying to say is, I mean, there can be like a pump and dumps type of thing with Igra Labs. Okay, the price can skyrocket at the start and then absolutely dump, especially coming after 6 months. The 6-month time frame could be, a key turning point with its value, because I mean, at $50 million right now, that's about 2% of Kaspa's market cap. Now you look across Ethereum and you see, okay, the leading L2 tokens on Ethereum, they have about a market cap around 2%. It varies. Some of them have a lot less, but like the leading ones can get 2%, 2.5%, something like that of the market cap of the native coin. So basically, Igra Labs is already very fairly priced. So do I think you're going to make a lot of multiples, a lot of X's with it long term? No. If you're an early investor and you put a lot of money in at the start, I think it's a great move, a very conservative move, but it's still a good move to make, at least double your potential Caspa bag. So, you're investing, you get the 50% discount as an early investor. So then you're basically getting into Igra Labs, the token, at 1% market cap of Kaspa's value. 1% of Kaspa's market cap. Its fair value is around, maybe 2%. Maybe it's higher. Maybe it goes higher than 2% because there's not other L2 tokens on Kaspa. So you're, as an early investor, okay, you can make maybe a 2x if you just held Kaspa. Maybe you make a 3x, something like that. Okay, but if you held Nacho from this point, look at this. It's worth, at this around 10 million market cap, it's worth around 0.3% of Kaspa's market cap. So it can reach 10 times that. It can reach 3%. I mean, that's an extremely conservative market cap for Nacho. 3% of Kaspa's market cap. Extremely conservative. I mean, I would go to say more moderate and fair is 5%. That's extremely moderate. Up to 8%, even crazy. I mean, if it has some crazy adoption, all that, it could get up to 10%. Look across the industries. Looking at Ethereum, looking at Solana, looking at BNB, looking at even TON. I looked at TON chain or whatever it's called. It's built a lot. It's integrated a lot with Telegram, and the two leading meme coins have a market cap, a share of, the one has 5.5% currently. 5.5% of the market cap of TON is its leading meme coin. The second leading is 5% of the market cap of TON. Now that's insane. Now TON is worth $16 billion. So, and these things are both worth, a little, one's over a little 1 billion, the other one's around like 900 million market cap, and dollars. So that's just insane. So the leading meme coin, again, you look at it across Ethereum, it reaches about a market cap about twice of that as the leading L2 token. So I still strongly suggest Nacho as just the safest, most optimal profit maker within the Kaspa ecosystem, especially as it moves and migrates to smart contracts. Thing about Zealous as well, going back, Zealous is going to be one decentralized exchange of various. I mean, there's going to be at least 3 heavy hitters. Zealous is going to be one, very tightly knit with Nacho, especially with Nacho being able to get stake and Nacho NFTs, being able to earn rewards. Zeal is very closely knit with Nacho, a very strong partnership. Okay, there's going to be another one. Kaspa.com is going to release their own DEX as well. I mean, that's going to be a huge hit as well. So now you have 2. Now also KSPR, with the whole, they have their own KSPR marketplace, very high in, it's Kaspa.com has higher market 24-hour volume, But these two are very huge marketplaces and very known in the Kaspa community, especially KRC20 community. KSPR, they are going to also release their own DEX. So that's 3 huge DEXs with big names and a lot of trust behind those names. There's also going to be Kaspa Finance, but that one is definitely less known. Seems like they want to make some sort of fork of Uniswap v3 instead of v2, which is what ZealSwap is doing. ZealSwap is doing a lot though, so it's not as black and white. But Kaspa Finance, I mean, people saw their socials and it looks like they were botting their socials. Like, that's a red flag. So I'll be very, very careful with Kaspa Finance, KFC, DEX. It seems like they're building, seems like they're doing a lot, seems like they're on the test net and they're doing they're really trying to, build, but like if they mess things up with their socials and they do some stupid stuff with marketing and they bot their socials, they buy followers, they buy people to talk and reply, and I don't know. Okay, that's just a red flag, and I'm not crazy about that. If I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I saw, and that's what I also saw some other research, some other detective notice, which caught my eye. This is a while ago. Maybe they've changed, but this is something to keep in mind. So that's why I think a lot of liquidity is going to shift from Zealous and from Igra Labs token, especially all that locked up liquidity. It's going to have to go somewhere. I mean, sure, it could stay there, but I think there are a lot of people are going to be taking profit and putting it straight into Nacho as the leading, most undervalued asset on Kaspa. I mean, it's just historically the leading meme coin performs the best. It's the most easily marketable. The community is just the largest. It's the most fair launch, most fairly distributed. It just checks all the marks. That's how it works, the derivative of the mascot. So you have a lot of liquidity that's most likely going to shift into Kaspa meme coins. That's great. Now something else just to keep in mind with Igra. Okay, so they have this whole vesting schedule and it's kind of not so great. Rather than investing in its seed round and even just consider buying at launch. But you buy at launch, you're going to be competing with a lot of other people that are probably going to also buy at launch. But so you're going to stress yourself out. It's like you're overcomplicating things when you're trying to make money off of Igra, as not just money, but a lot of money. You can make a lot of money off of Nacho, the leading meme coin. This one is more of a very conservative. If you invest early, if you buy at launch, you're basically going to become like a trader to buy a pump and then sell a dump. That could very likely happen within the 6-month period. Still, a lot of gains could be made. And again, those gains I think can very much be swapped into the leading meme coin or the leading meme coins on Kaspa. So then again, you're going to have to compete with buy pressure on these meme coins, and especially with a DEX, it's going to provide great exposure and accessibility for people to buy. So now it's the prices of these meme coins are likely going to increase a lot during this whole time smart contracts are finally live. This is going to provide a lot of value in liquidity and keep it within Kaspa as well. So now Kaspa's price is also going to rise a lot. So you want to make sure you're really investing and you're investing smart, because you don't want to mess things up and you don't want to miss out. So again, with Igra Labs, they're going to have these validators as well. These validators are going to be able to earn up to 30% APR. I mean, so who's winning with Igra? The team is absolutely winning. They got their checks paid out. They got their work cut out for them. The work's amazing. They're developing, but basically they got their paychecks. Okay, set. They're set. I mean, they're pretty much set for life with this, in my opinion. Who's next in line after that? You got the validators. These are the people like Kaspa.com, Wolf, and I'm not sure Wolf really got so much traction, but the other one, Three Search Capital, Venture Capital, they are validators, and they're taking everyone's money, and they're going to be able to be a place for people to stake. And when people stake, they're going to be able to earn some fees. But these validators are going to be able to do the heavy lifting work, I guess, of securing the bridge and that type of thing. Now these validators are going to earn a lot of money as well in the form of Igra tokens. So it's just a lot of money that drips down to actual investors, and it starts at the top. And the people at the top, they can sell on the actual investors. Where does all this money come from? From the pre-sale And that's the fully diluted market cap, $50 million. And it's like some incredible questions from Cat Dog. Okay, I should have probably, started off with this, but Cat Dog give him a follow because he's got some great questions. And it's not just with Igra Labs, but he goes to everyone. And he's making some really good points and things that I honestly do agree with. Looking at the bridging, he has some incredible questions. And looking at the whole model for the Igra token, like he even is just questioning whether that token is actually necessary. What can you do instead of having the Igra token? Well, you can reward and penalize validators with Caspa itself. Like, how do you penalize validators? I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, you just slash the stake. That's exactly what they're going to do anyways with their Igra token. Slash the stake. I basically give them a little bit of a reduction of their staked tokens, and the reward could just be Caspa. You stake Caspa and you do a good job, you get Caspa back. Where does the Caspa come from? It comes from fees of the network usage. Now, what if there's little fees? Well, if there's little to no fees, then like the network just isn't being like used and it's not being run. It's like when you reward people with money, where does the money come from? If you're rewarding people with Igra tokens, like where does that? You have to have like a very certain source of actual funds, or else it's going to introduce so much sell pressure for the token. It's going to devalue the actual token. But when you like give these rewards from an actual source of money, you give the rewards to validators. If the protocol is is being used and is going to be used a lot, then these rewards can be coming from fees. And now these fees, like from Caspa itself. So do you actually need the Igra token? No, you don't need the Igra token. The Igra token, the whole point is to fund. The funding is primarily for the team to develop the whole protocol. And then the other points is to fund validators to secure the protocol. But do you actually need it to secure the protocol? No, you could be using Caspa itself. And they want to argue, oh, you shouldn't be using Caspa itself. Well, you certainly could. And it's just a perspective that gets kind of like, they don't like to see that perspective because it kind of like devalues the whole point of why they actually need the Igra. Well, okay, let's look at some more points here, okay? So here's Shai's comment, and I mean, I love Shai's comments, I love his insight, but this is one I honestly do not agree with. He's saying why Bitcoin even needs Bitcoin, like why not, use a ledger as like US dollars, rewarding blocks with US dollars. And it's a very interesting concept. Like here, for example, with Igra, with validators, with staking. Okay, so what if you just, with the US dollars, like if people are using the Bitcoin network and are paying US dollars, okay, they're actually using US dollars to pay for fees on the Bitcoin network, then these US dollars can be used to pay Bitcoin miners. That's assuming that there's going to be a lot of activity on the Bitcoin network. If there's not a lot of activity on the Bitcoin network, well, then Bitcoin network is in trouble. So here with with Igra, if there's a lot of activity on the Igra network, on the Igra protocol, they could just be using Kaspa as the form of rewards for validators, for stakers. They could slash stakes and they can reward with Cas. Essentially, they don't need Igra. There's no dilution. There's just a redistribution from usage to service provider. So it's a very real avenue that could have been taken, but it's simply being dismissed because developers want to get paid. Obviously, Shai kind of had a problem with Caspa because he felt like he wasn't getting the money he deserved with the work he's putting in. That was definitely one reason. Like, Shai's worth a lot, and Caspa wasn't valuing his work, in my opinion. So he's looking for other work, and Kwai picked him up real fast to work for them. And even though Shai's like, he's even mentioned some problems with Kwai, that it's not extremely scalable at at large scales. There's limitations of its scalability, but money is money, work is work. So that's the thing with developers, and that's a large reason why Igra is Igra. It's not because of its DAO. It's not because of its governance. I mean, so what's with governance? Whoever owns the most Igra. It's like you could still do governance with a lot of other ways. You could even do governance through smart contracts with Caspa itself. I mean, there's ways around everything, but I don't want like, people to be like, okay, Igra was absolutely necessary. Igra. There's ways to have fair launch. Even if the team wanted to so badly to have the Igra token, they could have fair launched the whole token, and it could have been a lot more fair way. But rather, they wanted to secure the team's money, the team's paycheck, and I'm just not so into that as well. So like, I'm not crazy about this whole vesting and the dilution of the money for the early investors, because a lot of the money is going to be given to association, team advisors, and I mean that's the two main ones. I mean, ecosystem community. This is a huge supply as well. So we'll see how it goes. Egress is going to do great long term, but again, it's just like you don't have to look so far to really see and understand what's going to be performing exceedingly well on Caspa. It's the thing that literally mimics and mirrors Caspa to its core with how it was launched, how it's run, extremely decentralized, extremely fair. The early, believers, the people that really believe, the early, visionaries, those people are going to be rewarded the most. It's not the people on the team. It's not the people with the venture capitals, the people that invest in the pre-sale and all that. It's the people that believe in the most, because even at these prices right now, it's very similar to the price it was at launch. It doesn't show it on here, but I mean, especially when it was down to this market cap down here, it was reaching around like 6 million market cap, and Nacho had its mint at 2 million market cap. But with all the fees and the crazy activity, and the fees were so high, I mean, at least double is like the minimum of what people were able to pay for the gas fees to mint a token. So it made the market cap from 2%, from 2 million market cap to about 4 million, like as a floor. So then 4 million was like a floor, but a lot of people even paid higher than that. So the fair value market cap at launch for Nacho was at least 5 million, even 6 million, 7 million for some people market cap, because they paid so much for the fees, for the gas fees in order to mint a single token, because there's just so much demand at the start. So like at this value down here, you're really getting in at just above the ground zero. So it's your opportunity. Like you look at it, you look across all the ecosystem, you look across what's going to be built, and even looking across what smart contracts are going to allow to be built on Caspa. Of course, a lot of utility projects are going to be able to be built on Caspa. So yeah, you have Nacho's building actually pretty cool utility things. They got their cat pool for miners, cat DAO. They have their moonbound. I mean, and they're like actually Nacho have been helping develop, investing in funding development of Moonbound, so that I mean the revenue is going to be able to continue to help. It's going to be promoting the value of Nacho itself by literally generating fees from Moonbound are going to be airdropped to or be able to be claimed for Nacho holders that stake their tokens and stake their NFTs. So yeah, like that's my opinions. That's my thoughts on all of that. And another thing why I really like Nacho, I'll definitely make another video about just safe investments, because there's so many investments that are dangerous and risky because of how it's run, the team, the founder, the CEO, or whatever you want to call it. There's so many projects that haven't been able to survive. These are the projects that have been able to survive because they have strong teams, strong community, but so many have just died, and there were red flags in those projects, and I want to really highlight those red flags, because especially with smart contracts coming online, you're going to have a lot more projects launching, and you're going to have to really do your due diligence on those projects, or else you can lose a lot of money when you could have been making a lot more by playing it safe and not trying to overcomplicate things. So Caspa here now at 9.1 cents. We'll see exactly where it wants to retest and consolidate. It's likely going to consolidate here for some time before the explosive growth to continue. So now with smart contracts, L2s is going to be able to not just build new projects are not just going to be able to build and be created to give utility and actual liquidity and value to the Caspa ecosystem, but a lot of projects outside of Caspa in other blockchains are going to be able to migrate over to Caspa, especially within the EVM environment that Casplex and Igra Labs offer, EVM compatibility. These projects are going to be able to much more easily migrate over and use Caspa as their sequencer, as their ultimate settlement layer. They're going to be able to use Caspa as this like huge upgrade to their entire project, to whatever they're offering. Like for example, I saw the a tweet from Okta. I think that's what it's called. I forget exactly, but some sort of project like Okta. Even I saw some like people from the community trying to like hook up Tau, like make Tau maybe like come over to Caspa, because those type of things are going to be able to really take projects that normally are like, for example, Tau, it's a layer 1, but their L1 is just not very optimal. It's not very optimized. They bring it over to Caspa as they bring Tau essentially become a layer 2 token. Now that's going to be able to give so much more value to Tau, to their investors, to their protocol, and that's going to be able to become an investment on Caspa. So you're going to have new projects come up, and you're going to have possibly projects that already exist come over. And if they already exist, even you may see Caspa versions of them, maybe kind of like a forked version, but not exactly, but basically the same type of technology just being built on Caspa, the same type of protocol being built on Caspa. And those are going to be all great opportunities. But again, look at Ethereum, especially Ethereum, just the prime example, because it's such a, the ecosystem is for builders. It's like a lot of people go on Ethereum and build. I mean, same we deal with Solana. So you look at Ethereum, and what's the leading asset? It's Shiba Inu, the next one, Pepe, and the next one. Their leading assets are meme coins. Even for Solana, its leading asset, Bonk. It's been doing exceedingly well. It's easy. Its use case, it's like, it's always a need for the meme coin. It's like literally the mascot. It doesn't have a specific use case like some utility token. Like, okay, this is the DEX or this is the lending platform. No, literally the meme coin, the leading meme coin or meme coins are the representation of it's like the mascot. It represents everything that the chain offers. It's the derivative. It's trading as a derivative. It rises higher in bull markets, falls lower on bear markets. Oh, man, it's just so obvious that I feel bad for people are not really understanding it at this stage right now. Of course, it's going to be obvious once Nacho reaches 500 million market cap. Once Kaspa reaches a higher market cap, and then Nacho's finally at like over $1 billion. Yeah, it's going to be obvious by then. And as crypto market pumps, you're going to see Nacho pump like Bonk has been recently, and even recently, like, I mean, geez, with Nacho pumping, like look at this. It's some crazy price action in the past week. So it's very reassuring to see this type of thing at this such an early stage, because still Nacho is very much a rare commodity. I still think it's a commodity similar to Caspa because of how it's run and how it was created, how it was minted. So people want to hate on KRC20, but in all honesty, it allowed this asset to be created in such an incredibly fair launched way that no other token, even no other crypto, has experienced. I mean, look across the meme coin industry. You're not going to find another meme coin, or even another, okay, maybe some other tokens, but you're not going to find another meme coin as fairly distributed as Nacho, especially at the market cap that Nacho is at. So we're going to get, again, for Nacho, we're going to have some consolidation perhaps, but just like Caspa, it's going to have to consolidate for a little bit, then it's going to be blast off once again. I think it's going to align with smart contracts releasing. So, plan accordingly, do as you wish. That's my thoughts. Why I'm so heavily, I'm such a believer in what Nacho offers and how much money can be made in Nacho, how it's run so decentralized. Not a single person runs it or owns it. even the marketing material, it's so easy to create, to make a AI image, and as AI develops, it's going to be easier and easier. There's not like a single person that can like anyone can do it. So if anyone from the marketing team wants to like, all right, peace out or whatever, and a lot of people have left, and more people came in. So it's just a constant, like, it can just live forever, basically. Okay, there's not a single thing that anyone can't do within Nacho. So it's very similar to Shiba Inu. It's very similar to Bonk. It's like, it's nothing crazy how the, what it's a cat. It's a black cat. Okay, yeah, it's based off of the co-founder, or co-author of Ghost Dag, Shy. But at this point right now, it's really developed its own identity as the pioneer meme coin of Kaspa, constantly building, extremely transparent. Even the community funds, like, extremely transparent. And I give the founders of Nacho extreme credit for their leadership and being able to be extremely transparent with the community funds, being very wise about it as well. So, like, it's pretty obvious. But of course, you look down the list: Kango, Caspi, Casper, like, all these things. They have great teams. They have great marketing angles. But in my opinion, there is still some inherent risk with how, like, there's some centralization to each of them that they have. I mean, Casper is probably the next, like, Casper is also very decentralized. So, I mean, it was also the OG, Nacho and Casper. So I do very much respect, what they have as well, even though they're not as highly valued. But, they all have their own little bit of, centralization. There's their own little reliance on, like, maybe like a centralized entity. Kango with the art studio, Caspi with that the owner of that one cat, Bert with their owner, their founder, who's not doxxed or anything like that, and who associates with some projects that have pretty much pump and dumped. But I mean, it's pretty cool. Conan, don't know much about it. Goad, they have a lot of funds. They did their pre-sale. So everything has their own strengths and weaknesses, and that's the great thing about these projects, about these meme coins. Nothing is perfect. Nacho's not perfect, but it's, in my opinion, as close as you can possibly get to that, super safe, perfect long-term asset, especially as a meme coin. Like, you're not going to look at a meme coin and think, oh my gosh, that's so safe. That's such a good, smart, wise investment long-term. Like, you don't ever think that for a meme coin, but I certainly can think that for Nacho because of how it's run and how the tokens distributed. Looking at the top holders, I mean, it's just pretty crazy. You're looking at the top holders, you compare it to the top projects on, like, Ethereum, on Solana, on Base, on all of them, and nothing has nearly as good distribution as Nacho. So it's, like, all really promising stuff, and you really have to look long term to think. You have to think big picture, and that's why I'm so hyped. So hyped for Kaspa, so hyped for the whole ecosystem that's growing. It's a lot of liquidity is going to be coming over. I think a lot of liquidity is going to be, just redistributing and just boosting everything upward. And all this liquidity is going to keep fueling Kaspa. It's going to keep rising its value because it's not going to be traded for USDT on an exchange. No, it's all going to be on, like, a DEX, on multiple DEXs on Kaspa. This liquidity is going to stay in Kaspa. And yeah, so Casplex L2, they're going to have the money on there, like their liquidity on there. Igra Labs is going to have their own liquidity on Igra Labs, their own L2. But once atomic composability launches, this liquidity across layer 2s is not going to matter because you're going to be able to communicate between these L2s in just the same exact contract call. Like, you're going to be able to click of a button. It's like you're going to be having seamless interaction between ecosystems. It won't matter where your money is. So that's why it's long term. It's looking very, very, very good for Kaspa, and more and more people are realizing the technology behind it is very comparable to the. It's not just comparable, but it enhances the technology of Bitcoin. It literally is the enhancement of Bitcoin. It's literally the upgrade with zero compromise. That's extremely important to understand. Zero compromise. And with smart contracts, it accomplishes everything that Ethereum has been trying to do, and it's impossible for Ethereum to accomplish because the nature of proof of stake, Solana as well. They have their smart contracts on their own layer one, but Kaspa has the choice to have it on a layer one or to have L2 based rollups, and it's Kaspa or L1.5, and it's Kaspa's choice to do it this way because it's most optimal to do it this way. And that's something that people are like, oh, but it's not on L1. It's not optimal to have it on the L1. Long term, once we have ZK zero knowledge proofs, a full atomic composability, maybe it could happen in the next. I don't know. It seems like they're going to develop Dagnite with the zero knowledge proofs, I believe. Here we go, Michael Sutton explaining, primarily Dagnite and the ZK, the ZK L1 to L2 bridge. It looks, I think this is going to be something for the next 1 to 2 years. It's going to be released, and they're going to be released together. Maybe it could be the next year. That'd be epic for 2026 to have these two. So it makes sense for him to implement both Dagnite and ZK at the same exact time. This would be huge. And by this time, give it, maybe 6 months after this release of Dagnite and ZK, 6 months to even for a full year. I think by then is very high likelihood, I think, in my opinion, that we're going to see Caspa at a market cap. I don't even want to talk about market cap. I'll just say it's going to, I think, it very much hit the top 5 without any doubt. I think it can hit even the top 3. It can rival directly with Ethereum, but I think it's going to need a lot more time and exposure. So that's why I say top 5. So great things coming for Kaspa. That's my whole breakdown of why I'm so bullish on Nacho, why I'm, hesitant on Igra Labs as an optimal investment. I don't think it's a bad investment, but I don't think it's the optimal investment. And why I'm also extremely hesitant on Zealous swap right now. I think it's going to really much drop in price. So if you still hold Zealous, highly consider, looking at ways to offload some of that before smart contracts launch. You see people are buying. There's not a huge holder base, so much liquidity, so much money left to be traded on the open market. But hey, at least they have it seems like they have a very great product, a very great community, so they could do very well. But again, I think a lot of that money is going to be transferred and distributed back into Nacho, especially with the strong ties with Nacho. So that's some opinions with my, with smart contracts for investors. As more utility projects pop up, there could be opportunities to invest and make some good money. But you're going to have to keep your eyes peeled. I'll be sharing my insights on that as well. Make sure you like and comment, subscribe. Check out my Patreon if you haven't already. And if you need Tangem, hey, check out Tangem. Kaspa Alliance for Transparency. Even Tangem is an official sponsor for this whole, get together of Kaspa. A lot of big names are going to come here. So if you're in Berlin, or if you want to head to Berlin, September 13th, this is going to be an epic event. I'm not going to be there, but highly recommend checking that out. So Kaspa Alliance for Transparency, this is something that Nacho is helping run. I think they're fully running, and it's just a great way of empowering the whole ecosystem. To have events like this is just a great way to get exposure for Kaspa. That's exactly what Nacho's trying to do. It's like the marketing, just a way to market and bring more eyes onto Kaspa, bring more liquidity into Kaspa. Because end game is it's just Kaspa. So Tangem, get 10% off using promo code Scape. And yeah, on that note,